of the most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Racehour podcast in association with Gambling.com and kindly sponsored by our good friends at BetMGM UK, and you can get all the best racing prices and markets at betmgm.co.uk. I'm Darren Hughes, I'm in the host seat this week, and I'm pleased to be joined by two of the better judges in the industry for today's show. Firstly, Racehour regular Diarmuid Nolan is here. How are you, Dermot?
That's all very kind, and hopefully, Darren, our tips this week last a bit longer than poor old Gary's impassioned rant about why Cheltenham wins the Steers hurdle, and in less than 24 hours later, gone. So hopefully our tips actually make it to Saturday. He's gone.
Yeah, my heart went out to the lad, to be honest, because that's as impassioned a rant as I've seen in quite some time. But obviously fell on his face not 24 hours later. This is a three-man show this week, and last into the stalls today is Stephen Cass. All good, Stephen. Are you making the trip to the DRF, or what's your plan?
No, can't go to DRF. I'm going to Birmingham to a trade show on the Sunday. Going to Cheltenham though, myself and Dermo. Hopefully Dino's coming as well. We booked our flights this week, so yeah, I'm going to make Cheltenham, but can't go to the DRF for work. But I know Gary's horse is gone, but Dino's gone as well now. Now with big corporate new sponsor, Dino out the door. Everything's looking rosy. This is great, isn't it? Good to have you as host, Darren. Now that the big bucks are behind us.
Gary asked me last night. Gary messaged me last night and said, "Will we put up a poll that what was a sore blow, losing Dean or losing Cheltenham?"
50-50, I would say.
Have you started those tickets from BetMGM for us yet, Dermo, for Cheltenham?
I don't know. We'll have to get them to sponsor something first of all, I suppose, and then hopefully we can follow in then.
I'd say the
amount they're paying us, we could sponsor something.
That's most certainly not true.
We won't even cut this out. This has been kept in. That's the beauty of it. I'm in the same boat as yourself. I'm not heading to the DRF for work purposes, but I booked my flights to Cheltenham last week, so I've been annoying Dermo about tickets all week, and I need to try and sort a hotel or something before the weekend is out because it's only getting worse. But in any case, we can crack into the weekend's race, in which I think we should have a little bit more of a favourable weather forecast. Maybe not in terms of the absolute weather, but in terms of getting racing on, it's not as cold. Certainly it's a bit milder this weekend. It's an interesting enough race to kick off. It's the Triumph Hurdle Trial in Cheltenham at 12:05 on Saturday. Burdett Road is even money favourite. Sergino is 6-4 or thereabouts. Dermot, I'm going to come to you first of all. Can you split these two, or do you have a strong view in the race? I know if Dean Ryan was here, he'd skip the race entirely and just tell everyone Burdett Road is going to win.
I don't have a massive opinion. We only added this race as Cass is dying to talk about it, but the Burdett Road and Sergino are two very good horses. I think Burdett Road has the edge in it, but there's an awful lot there. Excelero is one who can't be forgotten either, but just I don't know how that form stacks up behind the front too. This is a serious race, really informative for the Triumph, because there's no real Irish horse yet that's kind of come out and stamped their authority. You know, there was plenty of other years where you could very confidently by this point say that the Irish juveniles were clear. I don't think that's the case this year. But darn it, this is a race I think that I'm happy to watch and just learn from it.
Yeah, I was pretty bullish that Burdett Road was a dreadful price earlier in the season, and said as much to our dear departed Dean Ryan when he was on the show. Cass, you were mad to talk about this race. Do you have a view on what might win it?
I do. I thought it was more interesting when Intillato was still in it because Joseph had brought over Fakir. That's why Fakir to Darius. That's why I had added it into the running order. I still think it's interesting. I'm actually very, very surprised that Burdett Road is odds against. Now, I'd be all against this horse for the Triumph. He did everything wrong at Huntingdon. He did everything wrong at Cheltenham the last day. You can't be that keen and jump as bad as that and win a Triumph against the Irish battalions. I'd be of the view that even though he won afterwards, the horse he beat on Braedon Fassa isn't much use. So in the context of the Triumph, I'd be mad keen to take him on. But here, in what's effectively a match, because I don't think Melantino will really be off. I would have thought they'd be, maybe going for a mark for the Boodles with him. He's after moving to John Joe now. It wouldn't be their style to be very forward with him. Burdett Road beat him well the last day. So it's a match with Sergino. So I was surprised Burdett Road was odds against. The new course is going to suit him better than the old course, which he was on the last day. And the ground is going to suit him a lot better. I think the ground the last day was a big worry for him. He went through it, but like there's 4 or 5 furlongs of a run in here before they jump to second last. I think his flat speed will be telling. And I think odds against is actually quite a good bet for Burdett Road. And then he probably short for the Triumph, and I'll be mad keen to take him on then.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with both of you there. Well, certainly more so with Cass. I think he's actually pretty fair priced at 11 to 10. I think that Sergino comes with more of a reputation than anything he's done in the actual track. And, while I agree on Bread and Fassa isn't going to be the second coming of Christ by any means, I thought Burdett Road would be just a little bit too quick for these here, especially with no penalty or anything like that. So look, it'll be interesting to see how that race goes, but we've got more serious and pressing matters on our hands as we crack on to the 1:15 is the Cheltenham Paddy Power Cheltenham Countdown podcast handicap chase over 2.5 miles. Il Redondo heads the market here at 7 to 2. He's somewhat unlucky loser the last day, you could say. Arguably doing an awful lot wrong in front and almost managing to hang on. James Bowen takes over from Nico de Boinville on Excello, and Venetia Williams has Victorino looking for a 3-timer. And Cass, I will stick with you. Did you have a strong view on this?
No, very tough race. I could not find a bet. I'm disappointed Victorino isn't going for the 3-mile race at Doncaster, because I think he's an out and out 3-miler. I still think there's room in his mark off 146, but I wouldn't be sure this would be his trip. If you put a gun to my head, I might chance him that they might have him a bit handier. They held him up the last day. Everything went wrong the last day, and he won at Ascot. But honestly, I couldn't find a bet here. I wouldn't like to be back in Il Redondo, even though Cobden is up for Bryony. Like she gave him a great ride the last day, and it's only 40 days to come back from he would have had a really hard race that day. Excello looked a bit of a boat to me. I don't think this would be his trip either. I don't think it's Victorino's trip. Something's going to win it, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you there. I don't think the tactics employed by Victorino the last day are necessarily what you want around here either, unless the going gets very, very soft. And I do think he probably will be seen to better effect over further. So I also agree with your comments in the Redondo. I couldn't back him after what he did the last day. I thought, to be honest, Bryony got a lot of credit for that ride. I'm not sure she deserved it. I thought she made too much use from it. But that's not to criticise her in general, but just to criticise the ride in and of itself. But in any case,
probably went too hard. She should have given him the breather down the hill, which she didn't. She kicked on, which is, she had the chance to get the breather and didn't, and then he was caught. Oh, look, I backed him that day. I'd kind of agree. I thought she did the right thing having him handy, because he's a very lazy horse. So kicking him on early was a good thing. And the piece is obviously helping him, but she should have held on to him more. Coming down the hill, I would say.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. But in any case, Dermo, I'll move to you. Tricky one there for Cass. You didn't necessarily find a bet in it. Did you have anything more confident that you could put out to the listeners?
Yeah, I'm very keen on Victorino. After the first win, it was Venetia Williams said that this horse has plenty of speed, and he won over 2 miles in France just in 2022. Sorry, I'm still stuck last year myself. But this horse has just kicked on massively, and like £4 only for that last win. I know, man was flying on late, but the race won at that point. I thought that was an absolutely monstrous performance, and that first win beating Eldorado Allen and 2 for Gold. Like, this horse is very, very good. And when Venetia Williams' horse is getting this kind of run, I mean, she mentioned Houblon des Obeaux as a comparison to her, Azo, etc. She has these horses like this guy who can just keep improving through handicaps. He could be a horse in time that could be, placing in a Ryanair or something like that. Plenty of our handicappers have done stuff like this. I think he's well ahead of his mark. Completely take on board that 3-mile probably is his thing, but I think he's the kind of horse that could win this and then go on to the festival and win again off another £4 or £5. He's just going to keep on improving. And I just absolutely love what he did last time, considering everything went wrong, and off 12 stone as well. So he gets in here for much nicer weight. And Victorino, I think he's very exciting, really, really exciting.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Talked me into it there, Dermo. I think I'll back him now, because I thought he's the best horse in the race at the weight. So I might give him a go after that.
Like his first run in the UK was over a novice hurdle, punted out of a way. He must have been working the house down for them to go from that to that handicap chase where he beat Eldorado Allen and 2 for Gold. Like that's quite the jump, and he absolutely battered them. And but he won well again the last day. He showed plenty of toe. I don't think that trip particularly in the new course as well, where it's a big galloping course. Yeah, no, I'm really keen on him. Really, really keen on him.
Fair bit of pace on here as well, you could say, with the likes of Willard obviously in here, Grander Dam as well likes to go forward. So race could set up for something like Victorino. For what it's worth, I thought Hitman actually, maybe with a slightly bigger price than what you're getting, but he comes here a very fresh horse. This is a lot easier than the Ryanair, which he was third in last year. Obviously, he ran fairly badly on his return in October off his summer break. Sent off favourite that day, has a wind off. Freddie Gingo takes off a useful £5. I don't think a mark 156 is beyond him, but we'll see how the market makes.
I don't think
out.
it's the mark with him, Darren. I think his small size in a big field like this, I think that's the problem with him. I think he's a very talented horse on his day, but like, look at all his winning is over 3 and 4 runner fields. I think that's the big concern with him, because if he was to get around, he's everyone's sure. He was my number 2, but I just couldn't put him up because I just wouldn't be comfortable now with him in a big field. Really wouldn't.
Yeah, it's a fair criticism for sure. We'll move on, lads, to the Cotswold Chase at 10-2 on Saturday. It's over the Gold Cup trip, and Stay Away Faye is in here as joint favourite for Paul Nicholls. Pretty bullish about the horse's chances, saying that those around him in the market have lots to prove. Some established opposition here all the same. The likes of Royal Pagaille, who is joint fav, the Real Whacker, Ahoy Senor, to name just a couple of them. Dermot, I would stick with you. Did you have a strong view on how this might play out?
This is a cracking race. Really great race.
Isn't it though? It actually is. It's a great race. It's good to renew.
Yeah.
Not absolute quality, but enjoyable race.
Like the Real Whacker, he could well bounce back. That's all right. Gino, he was a monstrous performance last time. We had Mallar Mission, who obviously that broke our hearts, but he'd be a Grand National contender. A High Senor looks gone at the game. Really, he's such a short price for a horse that hasn't put it together in so long. He's such a hipster pick. Stay Away Faye is very, very good, but this is his first day now with big boy pants on. It's this is a big jump. He's a very good horse, but I'd be more in tune to kind of seeing first of all how he ran before I'd even think about anything else. This is a big jump. Royal Pagaille, he has to be respected, but he sets a standard, I think, which is obtainable. I think 166 is generous, but he's going to set 7 out of 10, as I always call horses like him that always run to a certain level. If something else can get above that, they will beat him. I think he'll be second. Stay Away Faye I was kind of humming and hawing about him, but just the fact that he's a novice for now would be enough to kind of put me off, as much as I really love the fact that Paul Nicholls and Connections are running them here. They seem to think that the new course will suit him much more than the old course. You can see why that would be the case, but I'd be kind of questioning him. The Real Whacker, I put him up for the King George, and I thought he stank the house out. That's all right. Gino was brilliant last time. High Senor, by the factor of having flaws with the front few, I'm happy enough to take a flyer on Capadano here. I thought that was a huge run behind Galopin des Champs and Jerry Colomb last time. Was really smuggled into it. That was his first run in ages, and yes, he's rated 159, but this is a horse who was good enough to run a huge race in a Brown Advisory once upon a time. They did have him down as a possible Gold Cup improver at one point. This is a grade 2 in every nature. Stay Away Phase, the one that I respect as one that could really improve. Royal Pagaille, he sets a level the rest have to reach. I don't think the Real Whacker or That's All Right Gino will reach there. I'm not even sure a High Senor will finish. So from that point of view, I think Capadano could well let them battle it out, and he could just swoop late and take this down.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I can't get over his price, to be honest. Like, I know he needs to put his jumping together, but he's a 13-2 shot with our sponsors. He's a 1.5 up to a 1.5 bigger elsewhere if you can get on. I think he's a wild enough price at 8. Cass, did you agree with myself and Dermot, or did you have a different view on how this might play out?
No, and I thought the reasoning there was very good all along until you got to the point of tipping Capadano, who's kind of he's been the hipster's choice all week now. Everything you listen to is saying this fella's overpriced, and he's now been overbet, if you ask me, because like, I know he was third in a grade 1 the last day, but his jumping was bad and he kind of fell into third. Like, it wasn't that impressive, if you ask me. It's 22 months since that horse has done anything resembling a half decent run. And Dermo, you said he had been off for ages before that. He hadn't. He'd already ran a Thurles before that as well, and he pulled up in the National before that. Third behind Janet Lagore behind that, and then his run before that, you're going back to April 2022 was the last time he ran decent. So I kind of think you're right. I agree with you. Royal Pagaille, isn't the best favourite ever. Like, he's never won with good in the description. That's a big thing. He's now a 10-year-old.
Cheltenham
2020.
maybe not his track either, do you think, Cass?
Yeah, in fairness, he's ran well at Cheltenham, but at the same
Yeah.
time, he's never won. He's had 7 runs away from Haydock in a row without winning. He's penalised as well for winning the Betfair. So there's loads against him. The real whacker, I thought, ran 2 bad races this year. He was going okay for a while in the Paddy Power, but he didn't, even though he wasn't beaten that far in the King George, he ran really poorly, if you ask me. Ahoy Senor, you wouldn't be shocked if he popped up and won, but you couldn't back him. Stay Away Faye is really interesting now, and I'd be dead against him and mad keen to take him on when he gets into a good race like this, because his jumping, he actually jumps, he looks like he jumps really well, clears them all really well. He's really slow away from his fences. I must have watched 20 fences there today, and every fence, especially the last day, I'm trying to remember the name of that horse in the blue that he was running beside, but the day
Giovinco.
Giovinco, yeah. Giovinco was jumping upsides him and making ground him on every fence by the time they got away. So it looked like Stay Away Faye was jumping well, but he's really slow away from the back of his fences. So in better company like this, on good ground, he could be out of his ground, because his jumping rhythm is fine, but he's just losing a bit of momentum at every fence in terms of his speed. Unless there's low sun or something that they take out a few, that might give him a little chance. But I don't think he's grown up enough for this. I'd be mad keen to take him on. He's another kind of fashionable one for this. And if you look at a horse like That's All Right Gino, is rated £9 better than him and only needs to give him £1, and he's twice the price. That's All Right Gino is the one I'd like. He's the coming horse. He's unexposed at the trip, went and won a Coral Gold Trophy. And what he does is he jumps low and efficient, and he stayed really well. He stayed 3-2 that day. He'll be better on the better the go, and the better he'll be. Gavin Sheehan is going to get a nice lead here with Ahoy Senor and the real whacker going from the front, so he's going to get a lovely toe into the race. He's the coming horse, and at the weights they're all kind of landing around together, and he's the one coming in with the momentum. Him and Stay Away Faye, but I'd be against Stay Away Faye. So at 6-1 in a race that there's not that many runners and it's falling apart around him, I think That's All Right Gino is the sensible selection.
Away from the favourite here, so for the panel, myself and Diarmuid Capitano, and Cass obviously falling on the side of That's All Right Gino. So some division there on the panel. We're heading a bit north here, lads, for the next race. It's the Yorkshire Rose Mares Hurdle, Grade 2 mares, fillies and mares race only up in Doncaster. And Willie Mullins just controlled the market here. Astro Diamond and Gallimar. So maybe a little bit of a surprise to the Astro Diamond favourite. Albeit she does have the benefit of a run. Is there anything into the jockey bookings? Maybe Patrick seems to be getting second choice at the moment this season, which he didn't necessarily get last year. Cass, I will stick with you for this. Do you have a view?
I'd have a view on those jockeys, all right, and I know which one is better, and I know which one always rides Astro Diamond. Patrick always rides Astro Diamond, no matter what. So taking that into account, like, I couldn't have a bet, because what you don't know, or certainly at the moment anyway, and the way the betting is going, you've no idea what state that Garla Marceau is in. So yeah, to be honest, I can't have a bet, because Astro Diamond is a a good solid 140 horse. But Garla Marceau's form is better, but she's to give her £3 at the same time. Now I think Danny and Patrick, that £3 would be upset, but you don't know how fit she is, and you'd imagine she's getting prepped for the Mare's Hurdle, or God knows what with Willie. So can't have a view. I'd say Under Control is probably out for a spin for a handicap. Say Goodbye came from Gordon Elliott's in the past, and she's moderate enough, and Stainsby Girl is going to go from the front and set it up for one of Willie's. But yeah, I can't have a view on the betting, given you don't know how fit Garla Marceau is.
Yeah, it seems to be a proper guessing game. I would be inclined to agree with you there. I didn't personally have a view on it in terms of having a bet. Diarmuid Nolan, you might be able to shed some light on what's a tricky contest here for myself and Cass.
Literally the exact same. If I knew Garla Marceau was hard fit, I'd be punting her. I think 2 miles particularly is where Garla Marceau holds an edge over Astro Diamond. Like, Astro Diamond's best form is like 2-2 onwards. That's where she really kind of flies into her own. She's a very good mare who'll go close in the Mare's Hurdle, but Garla Marceau has the speed for 2, but I think will stay as well. So Garla Marceau, for me, going forward, is definitely the better mare. Under Control is really interesting if, again, she was off, like Cass said, because that form last year beating Empirico Lord, and then had a breeding operation after flopping last time, so she's extremely interesting. Again, this is a very deep race. Even Say Goodbye used to be with Gordon Elliott. She's no slouch either at all. This is another cracking race, but again, I'd love to know how fit Gala Marceau is. I can't imagine her being left too far behind. We are kind of arriving into February now, basically. She can't be as big as a house as some of them were back in October. But yeah, it's been a weird campaign by them. I get the whole thing of that the 4 and 5 year old season is very hard, but kind of starting her here now is very interesting. But look, it's a race that I'm very interested in from a watching brief. If Gala Marceau was adrift to 11-4, 3-1, I think I couldn't help myself but have a bet on it. But at 2-1 or so, Darren, I'm kind of happy enough just to watch it.
Happy to leave it sit for Diarmuid Nolan. Yeah, I think the market could be pretty informative here now, but the only thing I'd say about backing her if she drifts, I don't normally mind backing a Mullins drifter, but when they're coming in under something of a cloud that she's coming in, I might be a little bit less or a little bit more reluctant, I should say, to back her if I saw her weak in the market. But we shall see what happens on Saturday. Back down to Cheltenham now for the rescheduled Clarence House, obviously called off from Ascot last week due to inclement weather and frozen ground. This looks like a bit of a walkover for John Bondermo. No El Fabiola to take him on this weekend, as was supposed to happen last week. He's about 3-10, 1-3 in the market, 3-10 with our sponsors BetMGM. Do you have a view on this?
No, it's an absolutely shite race now. Unfortunately, it's to BetMGM were sponsored last weekend. Now it's My Pension Expert, and the prize money's cut in half. So El Fabiola looks like that's the reason he stayed away, which did strike me as odd because prize money. Just struck me as strange that El Fabiola's not here, or why the prize money couldn't just carry across from last weekend to this weekend, as in how that can't happen is just really strange to me also. But anyway, yeah, John Bond wins. We don't need to waste a whole pile of time here.
Yeah, I'll push back on you though on one aspect, and I've heard it said this week. Should the prize money have really been kept up? I mean, this is a Nicky Henderson benefit run, to be honest. Like, especially with El Fabiolo, it was never going to show up to Cheltenham. I think that was made relatively clear. That's not to say, you can't punish the ones that do show up, but is it really a good use of the prize money that's available there within the industry for this race? If it had been as valuable as it would have been last week?
I'd imagine if the prize money was as valuable and that word was put out immediately, that I think El Fabiola would probably be here now. The Willie Mullins has the DRF pretty much won anyway. Like he can just throw Dino Blue or whoever else at it. And because Ireland has no 2 mile chasers now, so he'd have won both of these races. Really, it's just not worth their time, probably money wise. It just I just don't get how we went through a whole season now of everyone very vocally saying that, and it's the first year where I'm properly noting it, that there's no clashes. We had the propensity here to have a serious clash, the race of the season, and by doing what they did and by moving the prize money across, where there's grade 2s in this card that are worth more money than a grade 1, we now end up with a situation where John Bon is long odds on. I just think it's very disappointing, that's all.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. I suppose a bit of a chicken and an egg. If the prize money was there, will El Fabiola have run? If El Fabiola had run, maybe I don't know. It's hard to know. I think the prize money probably wasn't dependent on his showing up or not. In any case, Cass, we've got a 3-10 favourite here. I'm assuming you're going to say keep moving.
Yeah, but I do remember Warwick last year when John Bon in his prep for Cheltenham was very sticky, and he has that in him to jump sticky, and he looked a bit stuffy at Sandown. Like, I know he went forward at Cheltenham and was more impressive in November, whatever the race that at the Schlur Chase. But at Sandown, I thought he looked a bit lethargic and more like the old John Bon that could jump sticky. And hits a flat spot and looks lethargic. And if he does that at the wrong time at Cheltenham and editor Tajid is flying in front, I wouldn't be afraid to lay him now if he was 1.3 on Betfair and take the chance, because he's not a horse I'd altogether always trust. And I remember he was definitely left with something to work on in his prep for Cheltenham last year, Warwick, when he really struggled to get over Calico. So I'd bear that in mind. And if he goes really short, if he goes, if the models really push him into something like 1.25, I would chance laying him.
Would chance laying him. Some question marks over the favourite for Stephen Cass. Yeah, I suppose fair point. Editor Legee is certainly a much better horse than Calico, you'd say. So if he was left to the same degree of undercooked, it might be worth taking a chance on the 15-2 second favourite, or just have the field running for you at a slightly shorter price again. We're rushing back up north to Doncaster. The Albert Bartlett River Don Novices Hurdle is our next race on the running order. It's a 2:40 on Saturday. This is a trappy little race, I found. Welcome to Cartrees, the lightly raced Paul Nichols horse for Johnny de la Haye, 11-4 with Lorcan Williams in the plate. Destroyed the evidence. He was second in the same trial at Cheltenham before Christmas. He's 4-1. Kerry Hill, I Love My Bay, Esprit de Poitiers, they're all in around the 15-2, 7-1, 8-1 mark. Cass, I will stick with you. Did you manage to unravel what is a trappy race?
Trappy, but I think Welcome to Cartrees is a good favourite and will go off shorter than 3-1, because I think himself and Destroy the Evidence on the book, on form, on ratings, they're quite a bit ahead, and I think the Welcome to Cartrees would be the best of those two and should be shorter therefore, because 3-1 about a favourite in a race, there's not that many in it really, although you can get surprise in this race, but normally when there's heavy ground, this fellow will definitely like good ground. He's a gorgeous horse. He's big, long stride, real action for good ground. I haven't a clue what the form was like the last day, but he kind of got behind the bridle a little bit and then put the race to bed really quickly. Nichols is mad about him, and after he nominated this race straight away, I thought he was quite impressive. I'd be a little bit worried about Destroy the Evidence, who ran really well at Cheltenham. David Bass just did too much with him. I think he actually could have beaten Shannabob on another day if David Bass had held on to him, but I don't think David Bass has it in him to hold on to him, so he should set up the race. Yeah, he should set up the race nicely for Welcome to Cartrees. Bit of a worry that Harry Cobden isn't riding him, of course, him being at Cheltenham. Lorcan Williams, I don't know what the views is on him, but he's not Harry Cobden. So if he hits his flat spot, you'd hope that Lorcan Williams doesn't panic, just keep him going. But I really liked him now. I think he's a good favourite. I think he's a lovely looking horse, and I would, at 3-1, I'd take a chance on him, definitely, to continue his progression.
Yeah, very good. I have to say the opposite view to you about the front two in the market. I thought Destroy the Evidence was a very, very fair price at in and around 4-1 in the place, 4-1 with our sponsor. There are other bookmakers playing 4 places. He's 7-2, 4-1 there as well. It'd be one of the scummier bets you could have all year, but I think it could be also one of the better ones. Destroyed the Evidence. I thought his run the last year was excellent. I agree with your analysis. I thought he was far too much use from was made, but I thought experience might count in this particular race. Diarmuid Nolan, did you have a similar view to myself and Cass? Are you looking further down the market?
Yeah, I thought the front two as well. The favourite, as Cass has covered very well. I just think he could just be a little bit green now. I think maybe long term he could be the better horse, but I think Destroy the Evidence has done an awful lot. David Bass would be my concern as well. I just don't know why he kicked when he kicked at Cheltenham. Watched this race last night a few times and kind of left with the impression that I like Loch Lynn for the Albert Bartlett. That Shannabob is very, very smart. Kind of loved what he did. A big dope of a horse, really. And Destroy the Evidence gave him plenty. I also thought that he was flying back at him again late. I just really like this Destroy the Evidence. I think this is the strongest kind of piece of form that there is there. I like that. The favourite beat a Nicky Henderson horse who kind of hadn't done a whole pile before it. He's very good, but I'd be kind of questioning him a little bit. So Destroy the Evidence just about for me, but he needs to be held on to a little bit more. And just one horse to kind of note as well, just this could be one of the rare times where we actually might get a bit of a read between the UK and Irish novices. That Dripsy Moon, if he gets any way close to the front two, we can really upgrade Cass's favourite piece of form, which is the 3 mile form at Limerick over Christmas. He finished 5th there behind Loch Lynn and Stellar Story, who Cass and I like either one of them for the Albert Bartlett. So Dripsy Moon, he's worth watching here because he could be a decent gauge as to the gap between the Irish and English novices.
Dripsy Moon, we're keeping an eye on for Diarmuid Nolan, but Destroy the Evidence, fair to say, probably your ultimate selection. Move back down now to Cheltenham for the International Hurdle. And while we don't have Constitution Hill here, we do have another Willie Mullins hot pot in the shape of Lossiemouth. She's currently the 4-5 favourite with our sponsors BetMGM. Not a huge amount of opposition in terms of depth. She's got Love Envoy in there, second favourite around the 94 mark. Rubo's 5-1, and then First Street and Guard Your Dreams are there to make up the numbers, if it could be as unkind as that. Dermot, I will stick with you for this. Is Lossiemouth to be taken on at the prices?
Yeah, from a very small point of view, she's a very good mare. She's brilliant, but the Triumph Hurdle form, we've no real notion still as to what the kind of strength there is per se, because the front two from that division last year, we haven't seen it anymore. So like, we'll figure all that out. But Lossiemouth, like, the likes of a Peace and Co has come out after winning as well and never kind of kicked on. So for the moment, first run, as much as we've seen all season, that Willie Mullins' horses have improved an awful lot. She's a very good mare. I probably don't rate her as highly as an awful lot of other people do. I think she's very good, but it was still was the Triumph Hurdle last year that she was winning. I don't know how strong that form is. We have to reserve judgment on that. I'm kind of going to go for a small win only bet on First Street here. Love Envoy. I I think there's a flaw in her not being able to beat Not So Sleepy last time. That's a big, big issue as far as grade ones go. I know he kind of mugged her, but still, like, not to be able to do that. There was only a length between Rubod and First Street last time, and First Street kind of pigged it turning in and then flew home. Was only one length behind Rubod. How one is 5-1 and one is 25-1 kind of seems beyond me. First Street as well was second, giving loads of weight in a county hurdle to Stateman as well, gave him plenty that day. And Stateman has proven probably the best handicapped horse at the Cheltenham Festival, maybe of all time, considering what he's done afterwards. But First Street, he's a real rogue, but he's very talented. And if worst coming to worst, he won't place. But from a win-only point of view in a race that really has the propensity to absolutely blow up, I think he's too talented to be 25-1 in a 5-runner field when ahead of her bar Lossiemouth. I think we know all their ceilings, and he is only rated 141. It is a bit of a mad one, but at 25-1, and he'd be bigger in the exchanges on the day. I'd be happy to have a small win betting him.
Small win bet in First Street for Diarmuid Nolan. Actually, an interesting enough case made there. I am definitely against the favourite. I think I haven't decided with what yet, but whether I'm going to just lay her or try and find something to beat her. But I think I'd be quite content to take around the available odds. Stephen Cass, are you with the favourite, against the favourite, or where did you come down?
No, not really a strong opinion. I thought she was a really good Triumph winner, and she was really good at Punchestown again. I wouldn't be as against Triumph. Everyone's always down on Triumph Hurdle form and 4-year-old form, and I'd kind of nearly just naturally take the opposite view. I mean, if Espoir Dalen had won it as well, we'd be talking about another champion hurdle winner like Defi Desoy was a superb winner. Tiger Roll, Arconnor, superb winner. These are all in the last 10 years or so, So the Triumph can throw up really good horses, and she looks like a very good mare. But she's a mare, and it's her first run of the season. And you'd be kicking yourself if you back to mare first run of the season. They were beating odds on, because you'd be saying, "What are you doing? Like messing with mares?" I love Rubo as a horse, but he has a big penalty for winning the elite hurdle. So he's to give her £7 and give Love Envoy £9. I didn't like Love Envoy at Sandown at all. I thought it was a horrible run. As well as that, she was really disappointing at Punchestown. Was it Punchestown the time before? But she's had two bad runs in a row now. And when mares start to sour, they really start to sour. They might get her back, but I wouldn't want her in my mind either. Dermo made a good enough case for First Street there, but at the same time, he's a bit of a yoke. So I'll probably just sit it out.
Sit it out for Stephen Cass. Yeah, I like the case you made for First Street, Dermo. A little bit hard to win with, but you're getting compensated with the price. So decisions to be made, I suppose, between now and Saturday. Heading back up to Doncaster there for their Yorkshire Chase. It's a Premier Handicap Chase, exceptionally competitive race. Pretty much 7-1 the field. Famous Bridge in there, 13-2 with our sponsors BetMGM. Forward Plan, Captain Or, Sweet Will, Surrey Quest. I mean, this is literally throwing darts, I think, anyway. I couldn't find one to hang my hat on. Stephen Cass, did you manage to uncover one for us here?
Yeah, two actually, and coming from opposite ends. I always think at Donny, in these 3 mile races, you generally kind of want to be up in the van in these 3 mile races in England. That's what I'd find. But with the ground being a bit better, maybe something can get into it from the back. It's very hard to make up the ground on heavy ground at Doncaster if you can get so far back with the big long straight. This is only in my head anyway, my read on it. But I've kind of one that's going to be held up and one that's going to be going from the front. So the one that's going to be held up is 2 shots at Tequila. Nathan Moscrop is back on board, and he had given the horse a couple of good rides before Brian Hughes gave it an absolute stones the last, a really bad ride. That race was at Donny the last day behind Forward Plan, beaten 4 lengths, and they kind of had to go around a couple of fences. He had way too far back. When they dropped the flag, Brian Hughes took a pull and gave the second last horse 2 or 3 lengths. I don't know why you do that. If you want to hold up a horse, have him up handy like they do in Ireland, like Ruby used to do, like McCoy used to do. They'd have him up handy enough, and you can drop them back as they run to the first, and then you're not losing any ground. You're choosing where you go. Whereas he let them jump off, and they were gone, and then he started kicking off. That drove me crazy. So to only be beaten 4 lengths that day, I thought was a really good run by 2 Shots Tequila. The Nathan Moscrop is back on board. He's progressive. He's placed in all 3 runs this season, and he was absolutely tanking into the race at Donny the last day. So he'll be there coming on the bridle, whether he can get into it enough, but he's a big price. He's kind of 16, 20 to 1. And the other one I like, he'd be the opposite now. He'll go from the front as Annual Invictus. He's 7 wins, all left-handed. 7 of his best 9 Racing Post ratings were all but good in the description. He loved the ground, and he's been given a huge chance by the handicapper. So he finished 8th in the Kim Muir, which doesn't sound great, but he was actually first of 13 UK runners that day. He was off 144 that day. He then went and ran in the Bet365 at Sandown. Right-handed isn't his thing, and he still finished 6th to 16 that day. Good run. So he was off 144, 140, and he's now been dropped to 137. Freddie Gordon takes off £5. He ran in a handicap hurdle in preparation for this, and he went from the front. He can go from the front, and he hopefully will go from the front here. He went from the front. He flew around Plumpton. He was putting on an exhibition from the front, and then he clattered the third last out of nowhere. And he ran on well. He was 4th, beat 12 lengths in the end. But that was a really good pipe opener for this. Just with the weight, with the handicap angle, I think Annual Invictus will have a big chance.
Annual Invictus and 2 Shots of Tequila for Stephen Cass. Big price, 2 darts there. You could dutch them up. You can have a flyer or a saver on either one or neither. Good analysis there from Stephen. And Dermot, did you manage to find 1 or 2 or 3 for this particular race?
Yeah, just the one I need, hopefully. Sail Away, for me, I think is an absolutely huge price here. This horse, I wouldn't be surprised if this has been the plan for the Skeltons. I mean, they all have kind of needed a few runs this season, like Phlegmatic 2 weeks ago. But Forward Plan is up towards the front of this market, and Sail Away beat that horse last year, giving him £11 by 11 lengths, and there's only about £2 in the difference. So how there's such of a difference between Forward Plan and Sail Away here is absolutely huge. Sail Away is completely confirmed over this trip. The young jockey Tristan Gerald taking £3 off. He's proven himself as being really adept this season as well. He's properly meeting everything in front of him and doing a really good job. But this horse, the reason why I think that this kind of might have been his aim is that this horse is at his absolute best when he's flying from the front, and he's been kind of held up in midfield and beyond this season. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a complete change in tactics in him and a complete change of fortune. He's a very good horse, and a mark of 142, I don't think that's stopping him. He's down now because he was 146 to begin with this season. He's been dropped £3 for that last run behind Forward Plan, who he reopposes. But I just wouldn't be surprised, like a few of Dan Skelton's who get a lot better as they keep running that season. I wouldn't be surprised had this been his target. And at a price of 14 to 1 of a mark of 142 for a horse that's so comfortably put away in his very... just last April, he absolutely hammered Forward Plan. The grounds down is good. I don't know how accurate that is, but that'll really suit him. And Sail Away here, Darren, at 14 to 1. I just think he's an absolutely massive price.
Sail Away for Diarmuid Nolan, good case made. I found out a lot of Skeltons even this season in particular. They seem to be coming on for runs and runs like quite a bit. He had a much slower start to the season. Now perhaps that was intentional with a view to the tail end of the year. But a slower start to the season than he would typically have. And it would be remiss of me to be sitting in the whole seat of the Racehour podcast and not mention that Mr. Coffee runs here. Amazingly in first-time cheek pieces. How this horse hasn't come across cheek pieces before throughout the course of his career is beyond me.
That is mental, yeah, that's crazy.
Like genuinely, I can't believe that. I'm fairly sure Dean Ryan, if he was sitting here, would put him up. I wouldn't back him with stolen money. But again, would be remiss of me not to give a mention to the horse. And then to round us out, lads, we're back down to Cheltenham for the Cleve Hurdle. Paisley Park looking for a 4th win in this race. One of you historians older than me might be able to tell me whether that's unprecedented or not. Did big books do it? I can't remember. Strong opposition all the same, though, in terms, including your selection for the stairs, Dermot, Noble Yates at 5 to 1. So I'll come straight here to you. You made a very good case for Noble Yates winning the stairs. in our podcast on Tuesday. I've seen him put up by one or two other decent judges in the meantime. About 5-1, a 5-1 shot here in the Cleve Hurdle. Are you going to be backing him, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, he weirdly has a rating of 152 over hurdles. Where they gathered that from, I have absolutely no idea. Considering he won one maiden, because in typical Paul Byrne fashion, he went straight up to fences very quickly. Look, my logic is that a mark of 166 is something that most of the horses in the Stayers hurdle field and this field in front of us can only merely dream of. They're all very good, but they're all high 150s horses. Dashel Drasher, Paisley Park. Champ just looked as sour as anything last time. But Akaz is so in and out, and then you're getting down to like the Strong Leader, who probably ran well last time, but he's not that good in Flight Deck, who you just couldn't back for this. So I think there's only one horse here who could who could have the propensity to go on and be a factor at Cheltenham. Noble Yates is a very solid horse, fourth last year in the Gold Cup. The big question is that can Emmett Mullins train him back into being a hurdler? And the other big question I have is Emmett Mullins' horses. He runs so few of them that it's hard to be too concerned, but they're finishing really poorly. That's not the.
No, you're dead right. He had
It was
one
Charlie
run
Bucket
today
last
there
week,
now.
and there was one today, and it just
One today that emptied.
travelled really well and emptied. Charlie Bucket travelled really well and emptied. I remember they brought one over to the UK before Christmas. Travelled really well, emptied. He had a winner on the 27th, but bar that, it's been very few and far between. Same as he had one run behind Ferns Lock last weekend. Again, was priced out of it anyway. It could well have been beaten, but I thought finished like a real cumbersome yoke. So that's my concern with Noble Yates more than anything else. But I just think there's a propensity for him to really fire himself forward here in a market that's really crying out for one. So that one. But as far as Saturday goes, I will be having a win bet, but I won't be going as big as I would have been with that concern over the yards more.
Yeah, a verified concern, I would say it is as well, because you don't often see them go after a couple like they did the last 2 days and come away empty-handed. Cass, did you have a strong view on this race, or can Paisley Park actually win his fourth Cleve Hurdle? Are you massively against him due to his age? How do you see it playing out?
Sure, it's very hard to have an opinion. I'd say you could throw these horses in every week, and you'd probably get Dasher 1 week, Champ the next, Botox has the next, Paisley Park the week after. Like they tend to beat each other. So yeah, I've no opinion. I wouldn't be shocked if Strong Leader progressed here, because he's getting a lot of weight from them, and it's his first go at 3 miles, and he actually travelled quite well the last day behind Bob Ollinger, but the heavy ground wouldn't be his thing at all. He probably needs good ground. So I think Strong Leader as the rag could give a showing, but he's not the type to be trusted either. None of them are really, including Noble Yates. I mean, Noble Yates, I'd say Irish Point now and Tiupu would actually kick him out of the way if he was running in Ireland in 3 mile hurdle. So I'd give him no chance now on the stairs. Like, I just think it's not a strong division in England, especially. I think the winner is going to come from Ireland. I think Irish Point has the by far the best form. They're by far the most impressive performance this season and the most scope for progression. So I wouldn't be looking for any stairs hurdle winner here. And I'd struggle to pick the winner here. Off the top of the market, definitely Paisley Park has looked, like his old self, and he'd be the one you'd like on the new course at Cheltenham. But no, again, another race I've no strong opinion on.
An opinionless Stephen Cass, which is an unusual state of affairs on this particular podcast. I've heard that word.
It's trials day, so there's an awful lot of races that small fields, and you've kind of have a favourite and maybe a second favourite with a chance. That's kind of it then, it's not that much depth to the races. So it's very hard. Like I prefer the big handicaps in England for having a bet, and it's easy to have a strong opinion on those, and I'd be quite keen on Annual Invictus in the Doncaster race, but I think it's very hard weekend for punting now. You'd want to be a lot of short ones you could get burnt on as well. I'd be taking it easy this weekend now on the punting front.
Very good. Sage advice from Stephen Cass. But before we finish up, I'm going to stick with you, Cass. Steve, anything else that's running this weekend that you'd like to highlight for the listeners, or are you happy to wrap it up there?
Not in terms of tipping. Gidley Park runs in the last at Cheltenham in the Grade 2. I thought he looked like an absolute rogue. I mentioned it on the podcast before. Yeah, like he hung left now, and his tail flashed a bit. The only thing is, like, Johnny Who is running against like Johnny Who wants 3 miles for a start, and they're running him over 2.5 in his third start over hurdles with John Joe Neal's yard. Like, so could you back him with any confidence against him? No. I might put a lay in running at Gidley Park, but I'm not sure there's that much to beat. And Jericho de Repene runs as well. At Donny, if he will run, you could do something really dirty there now, back to second and third favourite and get a nice on the Rule 4. You might get around even money. If he's withdrawn on the good ground at Doncaster, if it is good ground, because Nicky had initially said that he would go to is it Haydock have a Supreme trial? So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a non-runner. If you wanted to do something that filthy and back to second and third favourite, it'd probably mathematically be quite a good thing to do. And in terms of another bet now off horse racing, the Irish Euro song, so the Eurovision selection is on tomorrow night. Now I would know way more about this than I would about horse racing, right? I can tell you that. And I think if you get around 5-1 Bambi Tug, she with her song Doomsday Blue, I think that could be a good bet tomorrow, because she's definitely going to win the international jury, and then if she does well with the televote, she'll have a right chance of winning if the home jury give her a few votes. Third on the jury. But Bambi Tug, definitely the best song, definitely the song we should send to Malmo, and hopefully that translates to the bloody Late Late Show stage, because it's a shambles of an operation with the Late Late Show. But yeah, that'd be my nap for the weekend. Bambi Tug 5s.
Bambi Tug for Stephen Cass. Have you ever made the trip over to the Eurovision, Cass?
No. I was doing it the year it was cancelled.
COVID, wasn't it? COVID,
yeah. And then I didn't get the press pass the year after because they tightened it up with COVID, and it's just I have small kids and stuff, so no.
Yeah,
I love it. I live for it, but no, I wouldn't. My children are 5 and 7, and they're obsessed with it, and it'd be a fair grind now to go with kids. So I'll wait till they're a bit older and bring them then.
Yep, that makes sense to me.
We're going to Cologne in 3 weeks' time, because my 5-year-old's favourite Eurovision country is Germany, and he's been nagging us for 2 years to go to Germany. So I literally had to book a flight, right, we're going to Germany just to tick the box for him. So we're going to Cologne in 3 weeks' time because of the Eurovision. Very
cultured young man, unlike his father, you could say.
yeah.
Dermo, have you anything else for the weekend before we wrap up?
Darren.
I'll come back to you for your nap as well, Cass, before we do wrap up. But anything else from you, Dermo?
It's a serious weekend, yeah. Look, the Soul Arena hurdle at Fairyhouse, always a great one. This is where we fell in love with Honeysuckle, and in the same colours, Jade de Grugy was absolutely brilliant at Christmas, absolutely hammered the field. But this looks a straight match for me between her and Look to the West of Henry de Bromheads, who also was very impressive in a better race. So this is a serious race as far as the Mayor's Novices goes. Look to the West jumps a little right, so Fairyhouse might suit her better, but long term for the likes of a Cheltenham, I'd be holding fire there. But Jade de Grugy for me was really impressive. I can't wait to see her on Saturday. In the Limestone lad, Zarak the Brave, who could be one maybe to place in the champion hurdle, he's running in that race. He could be quite interesting there. And in the Grade 3 Novices Chase, this is where loads of novices are looking to qualify for the National Hunt Chase. And I thought that Nick Roquette's very interesting there, but I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully Sander Glen, who I think Paul Nolan's horses are running much, much better now. So I'd be interested to see him put his best foot forward there.
Yeah, you're right. I think they are starting to come to themselves a little bit. So that's a few selections. A couple of selections are horse of note there from Darren Nolan for the rest of the weekend. And Darren, I'll stick with you for your nap, please, the weekend.
Nap of the weekend is Destroy the Evidence in the River Don.
Destroy the Evidence for Darren Nolan. Your nap, please, Stephen Cass.
I've only had one bet. That's all right, Gino. I think 6-1 is very, very fair in a race with not that many contenders as it appears on the book.
I was going to join you, Dermo, with Destroy the Evidence for my nap, but seeing as you put it up already, I won't. I am going to go with Capodanno in the Cotswold Chase, taking on Stephen Cass's selection from earlier in the podcast. And with that, that is us finished up for this week, and we'll leave you till next week. Until then, gamble responsibly. Thanks very much to our sponsors, BetMGM, and of course, Gambling.com, and we will chat to you soon.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounding Cordon Star into submission.